I love you.
You promise!
We are talking about the psychological horror thriller simply called DIANE. Now this one is directed by Michael Mongolio and stars Jason Allen Smith and Carly Alvers. Now the plot here is this a war veteran who is disabled, a little bit of a loner, and one day he awakes to discover there is the body of a beautiful woman in his back garden. And he goes there and obviously has a look and see what's going on, takes a photo of her, and throughout the movie becomes slowly obsessed, imagining in situations of himself where he and this woman are together, and ultimately thinks she's the most beautiful woman he's ever seen. Now the police obviously like him for maybe doing something untoward there, and then throughout the movie he is seemingly haunted by visions of this woman. Now is he actually being haunted by the spirit of this dead girl? Is he simply going mad and just losing his mind, being obsessed with this woman, or is it something else entirely different? Well, you have to watch the movie to find out, but I'm not going to go tell you on that one, obviously. What do I think about DIANE? Well, I'm going to say I actually did quite like this movie quite a bit. It's quite a clever and effective psychological thriller. We will just go through the negatives first of all, then we'll kind of come on to the positives. Negatives for me, there are maybe a couple of plot holes in regards to some minor ones here and there involving really how technology might work, for example. There is some questionable performances from some of the police, I would say. We have our police characters who are interviewing him. I don't know, I didn't think maybe some of they come across as a little bit too one-note and caricatures, if you ask me. And it maybe feels just a tad low budget. However, on the plus side for me, the two main leads here gave an enthralling performance of two very flawed characters, but in different ways. So our male lead is this vet, and he is this loner, and keeps himself to himself. Doesn't really know how to really socialise all that much. But you feel he's not to the point where he is a complete mess. He is trying to be as normal as can be, if that makes sense, and has clearly got some issues going on there, and has this strange obsession with this woman. And then we have our female lead, who I won't go into how much the reasons why we see her, but again she's a damaged person, and we see in a variety of scenes that she was a singer but never really reached her full potential, and it has harbours regrets, and ultimately has a dark side as well. And I found their their love story quite quite enthralling really, and quite natural feeling. I will say that the female lead is a little bit unlikable in the fact that she is married and and is ultimately stepping out on her husband, and she says she's not happy, etc. But nonetheless, it does take away some sympathy for her. But I feel this movie was well directed. I thought the pacing of this movie, despite the fact that it is simply a more or less a psychological drama, it's very well paced, and you're intrigued about where this story is going to go. And I do feel that it gives you a variety of ways maybe this story can pan out, and it keeps you guessing about what's happening. And I thought the chemistry between our two leads was very good and very palpable. And there are some quite effective and somewhat eerie moments. Despite it not being a particularly overt horror film, it still does a good effect of making you feel uncomfortable, and having a look at people's mental instability, and how it can fracture and ultimately cause people to do things that they might not normally do. Overall, I thought this was a fairly strong movie, so I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment, and I shall look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.